Welcome to the 2021 TELPAS Grades K-1 Holistic Training. You are required to take part in this training because you currently have an EL student in your classroom and will be required to rate the student. The agenda for this training includes TELPAS Basics, TELPAS Test Security, Holistic Rating Process, and TELPAS Online Training Center. This training does not take the place of reading the appropriate manual. The website to get your copy of the TELPAS Rater Manual is on the next slide. These manuals are available only online. Mrs. Morris and Mrs. Pena will receive the TELPAS Test Administrator Manuals since they administer all of the online tests. You can get your copy of the TELPAS Rater Manual by going to texas.mypearsonsupport.com. Once on the site, click on Resources, then you will click the drop-down box under TELPAS in the Manual section, and then click on the TELPAS Rater Manual. TELPAS calendar shows the significant dates for the TELPAS window. The Training Center opened on January 11th, and the Assembling and Verifying Grades 2 through 12 writing collections became available. The person or persons who will be assembling and verifying the writing collections will be required to take this course. The basic training course for new K-1 and 2 through 12 raters opened on January 25th. On February 8th, writing selections may begin being taken. No selections may be taken before this date. The TELPAS window for all parts except 2 through 12 reading is from February 22nd through April 2nd. The 2 through 12 reading portion window is February 22nd through April 9th. Harmony ISD has developed a district calendar with more specifics on certain dates, and you will receive that calendar at a later date. This slide shows the definitions and information on TELPAS. All current EL students in grades K through 12 are required to participate in TELPAS. This includes those students whose parents have denied ESL services, EL students who are homebound, EL students participating in remote learning, and foreign exchange students who are classified as EL. We do not assess monitored students who have exited the program. The TELPAS assessment includes the following: grades K-1, holistically rated by the classroom teacher in the areas of listening, speaking, reading, and writing, through classroom observations and student interactions. Grades 2 through 12, online test in reading, online test in listening and speaking, and holistically rated writing collections. Please take a moment to review the TELPAS domains. For each domain, TELPAS answers the following question: how well is the student currently able to understand and use English during grade level instruction? There are 4 levels: beginning, intermediate, advanced, and advanced high. The 4 assessed areas give a student an overall composite rating of beginning, intermediate, advanced, or advanced high. Please review the key features for each level. More detailed information for each level and domain is found in the proficiency level descriptor charts, which can be found in the appendix of the TELPAS Rater Manual. TELPAS results are used to set learning goals for ELs, keep parents and students aware of annual progress in learning English, inform instructional planning for programs, consider reclassifications, report performance to the public, evaluate programs, resources, staffing patterns, evaluate districts and campuses in accountability and monitoring decisions. There are some exceptions for TELPAS. A special education student's ARD committee may decide that they are unable to be assessed in one or more of the domains. Also, a student who enrolls in Harmony ISD from another district on or after the first day of the testing window will not be rated in holistic areas. However, they will be required to take the online assessments. Test security occurs before, during, and after test administrations. No person may view, reveal, or discuss the contents of an online assessment before, during, or after test administrations. No person may receive or provide answers to student profiles during TELPAS calibration activities. No person may use answer sheets or notes that contain answers to the TELPAS calibration activities. Each person participating in the student assessment program is required to maintain and preserve the confidentiality of all secure test content, including online assessment, online test tickets, test booklets, TELPAS holistically rated components, and TELPAS calibration activities. Please review the list of examples of serious testing violations. Procedural irregularities are less severe, more common, and typically the result of minor deviations in testing procedures. They include monitoring errors, accommodation errors, eligibility errors, improper accounting of secure materials, and other errors. More examples of these types of errors are in your manual. Penalties for violating test security or confidentiality may include invalidating student results, referring certified educators to the State Board of Educator Certification, and lowering the school district's accreditation status or accountability rating. Any person who violates, assists in the violation of, or solicits another to violate or assist in the violation is subject to the following penalties: placement of restriction on the issuance, renewal, or holding of a certificate, issuance of a reprimand, suspension of a certificate, revocation or cancellation of a certificate, imposition of any additional condition or restrictions upon a certificate that the State Board of Educator Certification deems necessary. A person who intentionally discloses the contents of any portion of a secure assessment instrument developed or administered under this subchapter, including the answer to any item in the assessment instrument, and the disclosure affects or is likely to affect the individual performance of one or more students on the assessment instrument, has committed an offense. This offense is a Class C misdemeanor. Each person is responsible for reporting any violation or suspected violation of test security. Campus staff should notify their campus coordinator. All suspected incidents should be reported to the district test coordinator. General security oaths are signed by all personnel taking part in any assessment. These oaths will be provided to you by your campus coordinator and must be signed before you handle any secure material or take part in any secure assessment. This oath is valid for all assessments during the year. A holistic scoring process is one in which a student's abilities are evaluated as a whole rather than as skills in isolation. Be sure not to use the PLDs as a checklist of isolated skills. Instead, review all of the attributes for each proficiency level and determine the level at which the student performs most consistently. For listening, each proficiency level has three descriptors. Each descriptor covers a different component of language development in the listening domain. The first describes the type of spoken English understood and how much understanding is dependent on supports and linguistic adaptations. The second describes the level of comprehension demonstrated when interactions are not modified or accommodated to include supports and linguistic adaptations. The third describes the extent to which students need to seek clarification to understand or confirm meaning of spoken English. Please review the types of listening activities that will help you reflect on how well the student understands English. For speaking, Each proficiency level has 5 descriptors. Each descriptor covers a different component of language development in the speaking domain. The first describes the type and length of discourse the EL is able to produce, as well as the EL's speaking fluency in English. The second describes the EL's vocabulary and the level of detail included in spoken communication. The third describes the EL's ability to speak English using correct grammar and sentence structures. The fourth describes the extent to which ELs are able to speak accurately and the degree to which errors impede communication. The fifth describes the extent to which the EL's pronunciation may interfere with communication. Before assigning a speaking rating, be sure to reflect on how well the student speaks in these types of situations. For K-1 reading, each proficiency level has 3 descriptors. Each descriptor covers a different component of language development in the reading domain. The first describes the ability of the student to comprehend stories read aloud. The second describes the student's ability to recognize or understand simple environmental print, high-frequency words, and sight vocabulary. The third describes how well a student who has reached the developmental stage of being able to decode text can apply decoding skills to read grade-appropriate text in English. Students who have reached the developmental stage of decoding have cracked the code necessary for learning to read, whether in English or in the native language. Please review the types of activities that will help you determine a student's proficiency level in reading. There may be others that you use. This year, Harmony ISD has decided not to require writing collections for grade K-1. For K-1 writing, each proficiency level has 4 descriptors. The first describes the extent to which the student can use English to explain self-generated writing, including emergent forms of writing. The second describes the extent to which the student can use English to participate in shared writing activities. The third describes the extent to which the student can use English in self-generated connected written text. The fourth describes the student's print awareness and use of primary language features. Before assigning a writing proficiency rating, be sure to reflect on the student's ability to write in English while doing these kinds of activities. This is a copy of the rating roster. Mrs. Morris will provide these forms at the time of your scheduled rating. TELPAS Online Training Center returning users. If you had an account last year, please use those credentials to log in to the training center. If you forgot your password, use the Forgot Password link. If you have a different email address this year from last year, do not create a new account or click Forgot Password. Contact the help desk and they will assist you in changing your email address. The training center for all TELPAS activities is located on texasassessment.com/TELPAS Training Center. You will log in or create your new account here. New account users need to click Create Account and you will be asked for a keyword. Please type in Training 2021. Once you have filled out all of the required boxes, you must click on the rater agreement to review before you click in the box. If you do not, it will not allow you to create an account. You must click Agree on the rater agreement to continue before you create an account. Once you have logged in, you will see the educator homepage. There is information under Start Here, so please take a moment to read that once you're logged in. There are also dates available under Announcements. If you calibrated last year, you are not required to take one of the courses. You can if you choose to, but are not required. However, if you did not calibrate last year, you will need to click on your assigned grade and complete the course. You will be notified if you need to complete the online basic course. The online basic course you will be required to take is Listening, Speaking, Reading, and Writing. Please click on the link to begin. Once you have completed the basic courses, please print out a copy of your certificate. If it can be found in the training history. If you calibrated last year, you can access your training history. Anyone can review and complete the practice available in the online training center. Calibration is necessary because it helps ensure that raters have adequate training, including ample practice and feedback, before they assess their students in the spring. It ensures that raters clear their heads and consider only the elements of student performance included in the PLDs, and it supports assessment validity and reliability and is an important part of holistically scored assessment processes. Both new and returning raters must calibrate in a monitored setting. Harmony ISD has set February 15th as the date of calibration. You will receive a passcode at the time of your calibration. Most raters will require 1 to 2 hours to complete, and you must finish when you start. The proctor will provide copies of the listening, speaking, reading, and writing PLDs for you to use. For K-1, you will be required to rate 10 students in the different domains. You must score 70% to meet calibration. If you do not meet 70%, you can immediately do set 2. You can also ask to do it at a later date. If you do not pass either set, you will still be required to rate with assistance from a central rater. This slide shows an example of what the writing samples will look like. You will choose a rating for that particular collection as either beginning, intermediate, advanced, or advanced high. This slide shows an example of a completed calibration. This slide shows your scoring summary. You will need to immediately go here to see if you met the required 70%. Once you pass your calibration, please print out a copy of your certificate. You will need to keep a copy and give one to your proctor. Thank you for participating in this required training. Please be sure to print out or download a copy of the Rater Manual.